Hello, hello, hello. My name is NicholassRivas, and I talk about politics and stuff. And today we're going to be talking about how Kari Lake just lost her election case. This idiot, this dumbass. I don't even want to say that. I think she knows what she's doing, and we'll talk about that a little bit more. But Kari Lake tried to bring to court that she did not lose her election, and there was this sort of stealing of her chances of winning, due to claims of nothing. She couldn't prove anything. Her main complaint, which many are getting confused with, is that she went to court and she didn't allege fraud. She said there was no fraud. She just said the state had errors with their printing, with the printing that then affect the lines, and it was just too long of lines. But at no point did she say that the state was trying to dismiss her race, right? Like she provided evidence that the state just goofed up. So it's not even a fraud complaint. Like Trump was saying that no, there was fraud. These people there was votes for me and they tossed him out. Kari Lake isn't saying that. In the court case, she is saying that there was error. Okay, there either through incorrect processes or something maybe purposeful. But she said she could provide proof that they goofed up, and she couldn't do that. So this lady who's on Twitter saying a different story, she's saying there's fraud. She's saying it's the deep state. She's saying it's the Democrats. When in reality, when you see what she's saying to court, she's saying, "Oh, I think you guys just made a boo boo, and it's okay, it happened." So she's not even like being truthful. She's this two-faced bitch on Twitter, but then on the actual court cases where she knows she's gonna be under oath and where it's gonna be really, really matter of fact if she gets not into the correct detail, right? Like she has to. So, of course, she's going to show her true colors in the courtroom. And she failed. She failed there. They asked her to provide evidence, and she couldn't. The judge dismissed 8 of her 10 claims. So the other 2 they're going to move forward with. But ultimately, the idea that she can get this, I think, 17,000 votes that are remaining to save her is ludicrous. She's claiming that the printers that messed up that day was an effort to ruin her election by accident. We don't know. We need a recount is what she's saying. That's just dumb. It's just you're wrong. The states came out and said if there was any errors, we fixed them the day of. If people didn't vote, we would know. And that didn't happen. The lines being long, yeah, it's kind of annoying, but let's be fair too, Kari. You were telling people to vote in person, not by mail, which would have loosened up the long lines due to the unexpected printer issues. So there just sounds like errors occurred. It does not sound like people. Let's humor her background. Let's humor her foundation, right? What makes more sense? The Kari Lake was just a bad candidate, and that all the people who were very similar in their beliefs, like if you look at the Republican Party, all the election deniers, all the people backing Trump lost. Of all the governor and Senate seats, majority of them lost to their contemporaries who were less Trumpian. So across the board, across the nation, most people just did not want to vote for somebody aligned with Trump. But what makes more sense, that the Arizona state government was trying to hold her off by breaking printers, and I think at one point one of the claims in court was that they were using 19-inch paper when they should have been using 20. Oh, forgive me. Oh, Lord. They got us. The Democrats are so genius. They used the wrong paper. Like, come on. It's the whole bamboo shit. When they had the ninja audits in 2020 after Trump lost, they were saying that they were using bamboo paper, which you could change it. The election claims themselves make no sense. And when you ask them to provide evidence, they either just don't give it to you or just flat out ignore it. When they were saying about the ninja audits in Arizona, which when 2020, when Trump lost, they brought this like cybersecurity ninja company, and they just recounted the votes, which cost so much money. And it was so funny because they were making claims of the bamboo paper. They were making claims that people were voting and the machine would switch it to another vote, like in real time. None of this could be replicated. None of this could be shown in evidence. You couldn't find an image or someone trying to, or a person. They would claim that people were voting who were dead, or they didn't live here, or they were voting twice. None of that came true when they recounted and people started looking and doing audits of the people who voted, quote unquote, these people who didn't exist, they did exist. They just had a change in address, or they didn't have the correct information, or there was like a junior was voting when the senior passed away, but they just saw that so-and-so passed away. John Senior passed away. Oh, so that means he doesn't live. No, Junior voted though. So the names just got crossed. Little stuff like that was verified and corrected by the elections committee, because we have some pretty decent elections in this fucking country. But hey, fuck me, right? We're all just Trump is so damn good. He can really kill it. Like, that's the whole crux of this, is that what I just don't get is, you want me to believe all these hoops and all these crazy hurdles have to get jumped through, when in reality they're just not good candidates. I don't even think the Democrats are good candidates, but the people you're presenting, the Kari Lakes, who, granted, I will give you this, she is charismatic as fuck. She is so good at talking, and she is so likable. Even though she's saying stupid shit, she says it with really good conviction. Trump, to a point, he could really get the crowd moving. Nowadays, it seems like he's trying to replay the greatest hits, but the guy does have a way of spitting some good lyrics. So I want to give you that he is charismatic, but you're going to tell me that in 2020, during a pandemic, with millions of people losing their jobs, losing loved ones, that they're going to sit there and say, yeah, I'm going to vote for this guy. No, people did not want that. Even though Trump, theoretically, I think he could have won without the pandemic, he still was very contentious amongst the polls and amongst the Americans. Like, he's not this, like, popular figure as many believe him to be, right? Yeah, he might be popular in his circles and his group and his party, but amongst everyday Americans, to get them out to vote, that's a hard fucking thing to sell. So I think with the Kari Lakes, you could probably argue that, but then again, you're in Arizona, a place where people really fondly care for McCain. People really like the Jan Brewers. Those are people that don't align with Trump. So you don't have your Republican support like you would have somewhere in Michigan, somewhere in Wisconsin. So I get it. I get it. You think your guy is so good. You think your girl's so good. But what I see is a candidate who just wasn't that strong. She didn't bring anything to the table. You had people like Doug Ducey, who this should sort of be kind of like a slam dunk. Doug Ducey made Arizona look really good, just like the DeSantis's and the Greg Abbotts, even though I don't agree they did. But to many of the people who aren't really fully in politics or maybe more conservative, they looked at the Duceys as like they saved this country. They kept our businesses alive. And I think that rhetoric sounds really cool. Right, that sounds really good, and hey, I'm part of the group of people that believe we should have kept businesses open, small businesses, because we ruined their chances of coming back financially because of the pandemic, and maybe we should have given stimuluses to more small businesses. I don't know. There's plethoras, but these people aren't saying that. Kari Lake didn't provide a plan. She didn't provide I would have done this. So I think the states, and Arizona state to be specific, has an image of the Republican Party as, yeah, they're fine, but Trump is so crazy. I'm not voting for that. So Kari Lake didn't provide anything else other than being aligned with Trump, right? Like Ducey at the very least could say like, oh yeah, I really did this for Arizona. I did this. She didn't provide anything else. She didn't provide much. So I sit there and go, Kari Lake being a bad candidate or this crazy malfeasant occurrence with her election. I believe that Kari Lake, of the 11 governors who lost their seats, who were aligned with Trump, just lost. That just makes more sense to me. Everybody who comes out saying that Kari Lake, they didn't count the votes and they took over a week to count and that wasn't even what the court case was about. And when they asked her to present any evidence, she didn't present any evidence. It was proven false at the trial. All of these things that people have been regurgitating for weeks now. None of it was provided. So all this stuff, well, they didn't count the votes at the centers, and it took a week to count, and there was no custody docs, and don't forget none of that was proved. She had her chance to prove it in court, and she didn't. So now all of these people who are still, by the way, parodying the damn points that she's been saying that about the bamboo paper and the 19-inch paper and blah 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 blah. She had a chance and she didn't do it. Her fault. She had 2 days to present the wrongdoings, and she didn't. So anybody who goes, oh, they didn't do this, they did. The courts asked her, and she didn't provide. That should show you the con woman that you're working with. But no, you idiots are gonna just take anything because you probably like the Trumpers and you probably like Big Daddy dongs in your face because you love the Big Daddy Trumper. You love your big boy. And just admit, the guy just isn't a good candidate. Just admit that she's not a good candidate. And all these false allegations are just false because given the opportunity, she did not take it. I'm a big UFC guy. This is where I'm going to end it. But big UFC guy, when I see two fighters who fight outside the street, like, you know, when they're fighting outside of the UFC, I always look at it like, you guys are dumb. You guys are stupid. You're going to see each other in the octagon, like two fighters who are going to fight, or two fighters who previously fought. It's like, dog, you had the opportunity to throw your punches, to kick your kicks in the ring, in the octagon, in a sanctioned bout. Yet, when you take it outside the streets and you start fighting and you get in trouble and caught up, I look at that like, you're dumb. You had your opportunity to swing and you didn't. Now you're going to fight some guy, you know, in like unknown settings. Like, how stupid do you look? That's what I get with Kari Lake and her fan base. They're going to kiss the ass of Trump, and given the opportunity to provide and why Trump is so great, they couldn't do it. They couldn't do it in court. And then now Kari Lake has her second chance. She has her second title fight. She can prove it all in the courts, and she doesn't. She provided nothing. She provided no evidence. I think they are moving forward with 2 of the counts, but it's not enough. Even if she wins these, like if they go to court with these 2 counts of her claims and say, you know what, yeah, there was some little malfeasance here. There was some errors here. It's not enough to give you 17,000 votes, you dumb bimbo bitch. So that's where I'm going to end it. If you don't like it, suck it. I hate you. And yeah, it is what it is. Peace.